it's scary for people to see that way. You know what I mean? Like, when people see you as weak, sometimes it feels like that's all they're going to see you as. You're just as bad as your worst struggle sometimes. And that's what it feels like.
Yeah, of course.
Like, like you see me right now, and I don't think you're ever going to see me as a person who's smart or strong tomorrow.
Well, it depends who the you is, right?
Right.
You're dealing with somebody who, like, has some experience here and can separate, 10 days of like being plastered from the rest of who you are, right? I'm not average that way, right?
Right.
I don't like look at people in a black and white, I just don't. I tell everybody all the time, right? I've said to you this many times, like, other than incest, what's black and white on this planet?
Right.
It's all gray.
Yeah, but it's still hard to talk to you again because I have to talk to you and you have to know who I am. Does that make sense? You have to know me from my weakest to my strongest.
Well, we know already, and your sister knows, and your parents know, we've all seen you weak.
Yeah.
Or vulnerable, depending on the way
Vulnerable,
you
weak, regardless of what you call it.
But
y'all have all seen me messed up.
I don't know why you guys call it weak.
Well, that's
vulnerable.
exactly.
I feel like that's just something that other people put onto you or put onto people.
Exactly.
And that just builds on the shame and.
Yeah.
It really does.
And that's really well said, and that's what we're starting to get at here.
Yeah, it's not weak. It's you give into your impulses, and that happens. And sometimes you can, manage that, and sometimes you give in, and that doesn't change who you are. It doesn't make you less of a person. It doesn't, it doesn't make you a
But
better
sometimes
person.
you don't want to give in, and you just feel like you have to. I don't want to drink, but when I feel at my weakest, honestly, it feels like I have to because it feels like there's no other
Well, that's
option.
the compulsive component of
Yeah.
any addiction, and that's why eventually you get emotionally smarter about putting structures in place so you're less likely to relapse, right?
Yeah, that's why.
So had you called me a week ago before you got drunk and had this conversation, it's possible we could have done another year or two or more. And then the further out you go, look, I've worked with with people that are 20 years out. Not everybody 20 years out still feels vulnerable.
Yeah.
The further out you go, I'm not saying you get bulletproof, but you have
you
more
build.
clarity and you have more resiliency.
Very much that.
So it matters that you put the structures in place. And if your sister's not the right structure,
Next week I'm going to meetings because she literally told me, like, I'm sick of watching you die and you have to do better.
Who said that?
My sister.
Perfect. Fantastic.
And she said, I'm sick of watching you.
So she's going to go with meetings
She's
you?
going to go with me. My dad's going to go with me.
Fantastic.
And then my best friend's going to go with me. Like,
perfect.
There's no choice. And the reason there's no choice is because people love me and I understand that, but like I said, sometimes this last week, it just didn't feel like that. I felt so alone. And you said that to me. You said, Ashley, it sounds like you feel so alone.
Yeah, I know, I felt it.
And I'm like, damn, I do.
But I also invited you
Of course.
to come stay in our guest suite when you feel alone.
Yeah.
Did I not do that?
No, of course you did
Okay,
that.
but what's the reason I did that?
I think because you care about me. And
Well, obviously I care about you, but I'm helping you set up a structure
exactly.
for
That's
success.
what I'm saying. You're saying that I can be successful and you see the structure.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But so the key for you going forward is what?
To make sure that I can allow people to be that person. Like the same way you were that person that says, hey, I feel like you're alone. I can let you in to say, you're right, I have to come over here.
Yeah.
Or even my sister, like, hey, listen, you're drinking too much or you're doing too much. And
Right.
I have to let people be that person for me.
Yeah.
And I don't have to go through this shit alone.
Yeah. And the thing, I want to explain this to the audience a little bit, because the thing that some people don't understand about depression or anxiety or about addiction or mental illnesses, some people don't understand how overwhelming the feeling of aloneness can become.
It's terrifying.
Terrifying.
Because you feel like sometimes, hey, I can die in this room and nobody's going to be there.
Yeah.
And when you feel like that, nothing else matters. You're so heavily focused on being so alone that you can't focus on everything else. Everything else doesn't matter because you just feel alone.
Yeah.
And being alone is disgusting. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And most people aren't alone. And what I learned is I'm not alone. I have people that love me. I just have to be better. And when I say be better, I don't mean like I have to graduate from Harvard or whatever. I just have to want better for me. And as long as I want that, everybody else wants that too. That's
almost everyone else. There are some serial killers out there.
Yeah, I ignore them.
They
don't exist.
Like,
like,
they don't have your best
can...
interest at heart. But no, look, but this feeling of aloneness that, like, because I'm an identical twin. I explained this to you, like, last week or whatever, a little bit before I knew you were in relapse. But when we were starting to discuss things, is like, for whatever reason, the way I'm wired, I've also had tremendous challenges around feeling isolated and alone. We grew up in a town where
you guys were the only Jewish people.
We didn't feel safe. We were different religion and so on, and it was painful. Or, my childhood was painful in a million ways, right? And so this feeling of aloneness has always been a part of like something I've struggled with, and then I was able to sort of outgrow part of it, but it took me decades. And I think that's what you're up to here. It's not just your physical environment, meaning, yes, you want to put people in place that are there for you, but eventually you want to keep working on your insides, right? Filling you up.
Me being
because
okay
when I
with
met
being
my
me.
wife in Bangkok, I was alone, right? I was I was able to live internationally by myself without needing, the structures that all these people need.
Correct.
Right?
It's me being okay with being me.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to take. And I'm going to take steps, and I'm going to have practices. I'm going to have whatever principles or whatever I need to have. But eventually it comes down to me being okay being Ashley.
Yeah. Who is Ashley, by the way?
Ashley is a character that is played by Ashley. Quite frankly, I am, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, I am a person who loves people but hates the world. I hate the way that everybody functions in the way that they feel like they need money, they need things. You don't need any of that. You just need people.
Well, you're talking about heart and spirit, and obviously you're moving in the right direction because you've got two people in this room that are wired. What?
What up, Jamal? How you living?
Yeah, but we're wired way more heart and spirit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I never pursued money in my lifetime. I'd like to monetize these gifts, but I'm an identical twin that made tens of millions of dollars, right? Or pursuing money. The background I came from was most
money.
people pursuing money.
It's money.
And now you've put more people in your life that are, trying to find the right balance, right? More heart-based, more caring, more spirit-oriented. And so obviously you're attracting that.
Right, but you guys deserve more as people because you guys are better people. I
appreciate that, and Jamal, do
everybody.
you appreciate that?
Like,
or no?
I've met millionaires, and ugh.
No, but the point I'm trying to make, I'm being a little playful here, but the point I'm trying to make is that what is it about you that has changed so that you can put people in your life that give a fuck about you?
I'm sick of people not giving a fuck about me. I'm sick of people saying, hey, you're intelligent, we're going to use you. I'd rather people say, hey, I like you. You're a friend. And I appreciate being able, and when I tell you I appreciate this, I mean this the most. Being able to sit on your couch, we hit record, and then we have a session. That means something because, quite frankly, nobody's ever cared about me that much.
Okay, that's cool.
It sounds crazy, but like, nobody's ever given a shit. they use you for what you have and not for what you are.
Yeah, life is full of those people, and it's up to us. Like, we have to find, build our community, build that, our own families, so to speak, with people that just genuinely care. They don't care about what you have to offer them, or whatever they can get in return. It's just people that care, and that's a part of the journey, finding those people in your life.
They're so hard to find, though.
It's tough.
But it's not impossible at all, right? And it might be hard to find, and this used to be one of my chief complaints, is how hard. When I was your age, you're a lot younger than me. You're 28. I'm 54, turning 55 in 3 weeks. That was my chief complaint for probably all my 20s, all my 30s. Like, literally, I used to get so disappointed and so disheartened and so down because I felt like the way most people know. I came from Fairfield County, Connecticut, where almost everything is some kind of transaction.
Right.
And I'm a relationship guy. I wanted to build a relationship, and everybody else just wanted to do a business transaction,
Yeah, I'm from
And I lived in
Wellington.
LA, which was ridiculous.
I'm from Wellington. Like, it's all money. It's all money, and you know what?
But
God,
you're
I hate
already
it.
starting to change that dynamic.
Oh, very much so.
Right? So
I want
you've already
people-
you're weeding through clients now that don't fit,
I
correct?
do. Yes.
Now, why would you be doing that? Tell us why.
Why
Tell
am
the
I
camera
weeding?
why.
Why
What?
am I weeding through clients? I'll look
Yeah,
at the
why
camera.
are you? Because you're learning how to honor yourself.
Yeah, I care
Right?
about me as a person.
All right. So then we just got to keep moving in this direction, because the more you care about you, the less you're going to drink.
Yeah.
Look,
I
the-
haven't drank a lot. In this last year, I have not drank a lot compared to when I was 13 or 15. When I was 15, I was drinking every day.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, every day.
All right, so we're putting structures in place, right?
Yeah.
One of the structures is you and your sister going to meetings,
My sister,
correct?
my dad, and my best friend.
What's that?
My sister, my dad, and my best friend.
Your dad's going to go to meetings with you as well? That's fantastic.
He has to.
Well,
I'm
that's
not gonna
good
get
for your
sober
dad.
In my house.
What?
I'm not going to get sober in my house unless everybody's getting sober.
Okay. So does that mean you're going to stop occasionally drinking? Because
Yeah.
sometimes you occasionally drink.
If I go to Mexico, I'm gonna.
What's that?
If I go to Mexico, I'm gonna drink. Mexico is Mexico.
Got it. So you're not going to go to Sexico, is what you're saying?
Not for the next 2 years, but
Okay.
eventually I gotta go back. 'cause
Okay. So, well, you're.
Then
See,
we'll
this
get
is what.
fined.
By the way, this is what people do. They project from the consciousness they're in today. And if she spends 2 years sober, who knows? Maybe she'll pass, right?
No,
But
I'm
today, in
always
this
gonna get
consciousness,
Always
right? But you're saying you're going to wind up drunk again in the future, and who knows? Maybe you'll decide that this is enough. Then maybe
I'm
you'll
just
be
trying to
sober.
realistic, I guess.
Right? No,
Just
I
saying
got
I'm
you.
not gonna.
All I'm saying is we don't know.
Right. Exactly. Like I don't know.
Because people say to me all the time, this is what the future is going to be. And I'm like, if you do some real personal growth here, who knows what the future is going to
The
be?
future can be fantastic.
Yeah, it can be amazing. And then one of the things you're going to learn to do is live into that,
It'd be better.
right? To allow it, right? Remember that book, The Big Leap? Didn't I have you read that?
Eckhart-
Like,
that's not Eckhart Tolle.
no,
Gay-
that's
Guy-
Gay Hendricks,
yeah,
and
Gay
it's
Hendricks.
about like upper limit issues. When
Yes.
people start to feel too happy, they sabotage it, right?
Yeah.
I used to use that playful metaphor around breaking 70. I blew
I
up
think
at
that's what
70 a
happened,
million
yeah.
times. What's that?
I think that's what happened. I
Is
got-
you started getting too successful.
Yeah,
You just got a new client, a big client, right?
a big client.
Yeah, and now you're jeopardizing that client.
Because I don't know anything else but failing sometimes, if that makes sense. Like,
Well, that's your old self-image that you're in the process of correcting. I think Jamal would agree with that. Is that true?
Yeah.
what's
Part
up,
of
cameraman?
part of becoming comfortable with yourself.
Becoming comfortable.
This is not a normal cameraman here. This guy's been meditating for
This guy's a genius, by the way.
22 years of
No,
meditation.
right behind the camera, and not in front of it.
22 years of meditation. He's not a normal cameraman. That's why we
Not at all.
keep referring to the cameraman,
You are the
right?
smart
Because the
guy.
camera guy has got a little bit of wisdom here too. But the practice of yoga, Jamal, tell everybody what the practice of yoga does for your consciousness.
For your consciousness, it calms your consciousness down. We settle our brain down. We are always thinking. We have all these thoughts of how we think things should be, how we think, what we think is good or bad or right and wrong, just how we think things should be in the world and how things should operate, how we should be treated, expectations,
So what do you think?
And so
What do you think every day, like when you wake up?
day,
What do you think?
it depends on the day. Some days I wake up and I'm like, gotta do this shit again. And other days, I don't really think much. I just kind of go with it. I wake up, I meditate, I just gotta be in the moment.
And how have you been so okay with what life is and what it throws at you? How have you been so okay? How have you been moving through it without, I wouldn't say without peace, but without a problem necessarily? How do you deal with that?
But not a major problem is what
Right.
you're referring to, because I'm sure he's had many problems.
Of course.
Right, we've all had problems.
How do you deal with life?
Every day we have ups and downs. Like I said, I like to meditate. I like to eat. Everyone has I eat when I'm nervous.
Do you? What do you eat?
I've never seen you eat nervous. We just
Except meat.
A lot of bread.
except you don't put it on any weight
No
whatsoever.
carbs. What you eat carbs and
A lot of carbs.
you're so thin.
You have
A
no
whole loaf of bread in one
body.
day.
I
You
eat
have
a
six-
loaf of bread and I'm this
So when
big.
you're nervous, you do a loaf of bread.
I can, yeah.
So I wonder if I give him a gift as a loaf of bread. The guy
would
doesn't
give him
even
one
have.
too.
He's got like what, 6% body fat
Right,
or
like,
something.
how do you tell me you're eating bread?
Like my wife and I, we use this phrase in Thai, "Pom mai chua kun," I don't believe you.
Yeah, that sounds like nonsense.
Like neither of us believe you.
You know I can see you, right?
Yes.
Like I can see you.
I'm gonna. I gotta read this.
Hey, Dr. Brett here. Hit like and subscribe, and if you really want to support us, sign up to our Patreon.